Goodness often carries no armour. It walks through the world open-hearted, assuming others will meet it with the same softness. But Nietzsche saw how the gentle ones, those who care deeply, give freely, and hope without defence, are the ones who bleed first. Not because they are naive, but because they refuse to become hard. They hold space where others retreat. They forgive where others turn cold. And in doing so, they invite both beauty and pain. The world doesn't always reward goodness. It tests it. But if you've been hurt because of your kindness, it doesn't mean you were wrong to be kind. It means your light reached into places where others had forgotten how to glow. And that is strength. In the gentle hush of contemplation, let us wander through the quiet corridors of the human heart, a sanctuary where tenderness often encounters a harsher world. Those who dare to feel deeply, like tender conduits of life's myriad emotions, find themselves caressed by both joy and sorrow. These souls, seemingly fashioned from compassion itself, carry invisible scars, a tapestry woven by the world's merciless truths and tender dreams unfulfilled. In this realm of open-heartedness, idealism meets reality like dawn greeted by an impending storm. Nietzsche's wisdom echoes here, observing how innocence confronts unsparing truths. The idealists among us envision a world painted with hope and possibility, yet walk a path riddled with the shards of disillusionment. They bear an invisible weight. The longing for a world as kind as their vision contrasts starkly with the harshness of the one they inhabit. Their vulnerability, an open invitation to connect, often renders them exposed to life's relentless gusts. An open heart is a paradox of strength and weakness, where vulnerability becomes a courageous act. To be truly open is not to crumble at hurt, but to stand bravely, embracing life's essence in its most raw, unmasked form. Within this openness lies an inherent strength, a resilient chain woven by authenticity and courage. Yet society frequently misinterprets this as a flaw, a chink in armour ready to be exploited. Through the philosophy of Nietzsche and Jung, we find that vulnerability, entwined with authenticity, forms a testament to human connection's profound potential. As these gentle spirits navigate through a world that often views kindness with suspicion, they face cruelty and manipulation, the echoes of human interaction through power and competition. Yet, the true battleground lies within, a tumultuous dialogue between their core integrity and the external world's harsh judgments. This struggle offers a choice: to grow disillusioned or to let cruelty refine the spirit into an even purer alloy of understanding and compassion, a metamorphosis from adversity into power. In love, the deepest marks are left, for to love intensely is to accept the risk of profound pain. Nietzsche understood this duality, the embrace of love's full spectrum. Yet, amid potential heartbreak, those who continue to love do so with a dauntless spirit, their scars reminders of a life lived fully and solely. In each heartache, they find the strength to nurture connections despite their wounds, holding on to the belief that true intimacy is worth the pain's edge. Pain becomes their instructor, guiding open hearts toward transformative insight. Nietzsche and Jung regarded this process as the key to psychological evolution, demanding courage and the willingness to face shadows within. With resilience and an unwavering commitment to growth, they allow suffering to illuminate profound truths about self and the world, gaining strength in vulnerability. The scars they acquire are badges of resilience, each a tale of lessons absorbed and wisdom earned. Forgiveness emerges as a vital practice, a balm soothing the ache of past harms. Forgiveness is liberation, a release of chains binding them to old wounds. It is a conscious choice, not acquiescence, leading them towards serenity and internal peace. This act extends inward too, self-compassion as a form of self-forgiveness, acknowledging imperfections without judgment, and embracing human fallibility with kindness. The open-hearted encounter the abyss, Nietzsche's metaphor for confronting the self's darkest corners, unguarded by societal illusions. It is here they face fears and acknowledge the hidden parts of themselves relegated to shadow. This internal journey is one of discovery, where embracing wholeness becomes a sacred task, and authentic self-discovery shines forth in newfound strength. Amid societal pressures favouring conformity, authenticity becomes both a guiding light and a formidable challenge. Nietzsche emphasised the importance of living an authentic life, a resolution to peel away superficial layers to reveal the true self beneath. In this quest, the open-hearted find liberation, free from societal constraints, centred in alignment with their core essence. In solitude, the gentle souls find refuge and clarity, a precious sanctuary away from the world's clamour. Nietzsche saw solitude as a sacred space for self-reflection and renewal, offering time to pause and listen to the heart's whispers. Though initially daunting, solitude reveals itself as a place of profound insight and peace, nurturing creativity and self-reliance, returning to the world grounded and invigorated. This journey of transformation is an alchemy of experience. Through trials of love, vulnerability, and authenticity, they transform into resilient beings, embodying Jungian individuation's ideals. They integrate light and shadow, crafting harmony within themselves, allowing their open-hearted nature to thrive alchemically. Their path of self-discovery not only enriches their lives, but also encourages others to embrace the spectrum of their humanity, inspiring a world where authentic connection flourishes. In the delicate tapestry of human existence, kindness weaves a thread of strength, misunderstood as fragility. In a world that favours dominance and aggression, gentleness is often cloaked in the misjudgment of naivety, a mirage in the desert of power. Here stands the gentle soul, quietly radiant, challenging the tempest with a resilience mistaken for surrender. The strength to embrace kindness in a realm where fortification is worshipped, and empathy, a forgotten relic, requires courage as profound as the deepest ocean. A choice made with clarity that kindness may not ensure one's safety, but is a beacon of integrity. The soul burdened with compassion knows the weight it must bear. To feel profoundly for another is both a blessing and a shadowed sword, bare to the heart's core. It creates connections that sing with beauty, but opens the self to wounds, unavoidable in emotional openness. This sensitivity navigates silent ripples of shared experiences, often at the cost of one's emotional endurance. The compassionate walk a path laden with others' sorrow, remaining steadfast in a world that returns indifference for empathy. Yet within this paradox lies transformative power, a gentle force of change, perceived in rare glimmers like stardust in the night, born from unwavering sincerity. The gentle spirit carries the aura of wisdom, not the simplicity it is often mistaken for. Misunderstood as naive, this choice of tenderness rises from deliberate wisdom, an enduring affirmation of connection over conflict. To walk softly amidst life's rough paths speaks of profound courage, knowing full well the path's perils, yet choosing unwaveringly nonetheless. Gentleness does not emerge from ignorance but blossoms from recognizing strength within vulnerability, which harbours power unrecognized by those who measure strength only through might. Invisible strength resides in quiet fortitude, absorbing transient misconceptions to remain true to its essence. The courage flowing through acts of compassion speaks softly, often unheard in the clamour for louder demonstrations of bravery. To remain open-hearted after tasting the bitterness of betrayal requires not just courage, but profound internal steel. Those who persist with empathy amidst adversity showcase resilience that might sneak unnoticed, but its presence is deeply rooted. Their bravery is not in surmounting external trials, but in nurturing belief in humanity's goodness, defying life's scars. This strength arises from a wellspring untouched by the world's cold indifference, offering love without expectation, revealing empowerment through human connection. Understanding the gentle spirit requires an exploration into its complex mosaic. Operating on a frequency where kindness is intrinsic, not a mere decision, gentle individuals connect with visible threads of the human experience. Their empathy sings to them of others' pains, seeing beneath the surface of facades. Such individuals, natural empaths, sense the suffering around them deeply. The very tenderness that brings profound connections also lays them bare to absorbing too much, navigating the emblematic paradox of vulnerability as strength, a paradox key to appreciating the resilience they embody. In vulnerability's embrace lies untold strength, defying the world's misconceptions. Those leading with kindness must balance openness with self-preservation, crafting tender boundaries that transform perceived weakness into enduring power. Their gentleness becomes their shield, a form of defense that surpasses mere emotional detachment. Through authenticity, they reshape the surrounding fabric, inviting the world to reflect on strength's true essence. By embracing vulnerability, they reveal an existence beyond superficial power, redefining it as an acceptance of one's humanity over bravado. Kindness, when understood, becomes an ethereal form of armour, a gentle yet robust defence constructed from understanding and compassion. It asks not for walls built from detachment, but radiates from connections steeped in empathy. This softer armour bears a resilience unyielded by life's sharp adversities. Choosing to be kind, knowing its cost, translates vulnerability into resilience's form, crafting bonds from shared human struggles. In keeping kindness as a mantle, the kind-hearted exercise a quiet power arising from commonality, gently enduring life's tides. Yet to sustain this tenderness, one must draw boundaries as sacred barriers. These boundaries preserve the gentle's essence, shielding it from exhaustion and emotional overwhelm. They delineate the line where one's kindness stretches and where it must retreat to gather strength anew. Without these, the giver risks depletion, unable to continue offering from an empty heart. Gentle spirits must harness their awareness, asserting these limits to balance connection with self-preservation, maintaining a wellspring of generous kindness, grounded not in sacrifice, but soulful equilibrium. The quiet resilience residing in kindness tells a tale of patience and steadfast belief. It thrives outside the realms of recognition, founded not on external validation, but on internal convictions. The soft, silent strength of the gentle flows like an undercurrent, offering anchors within themselves and their communities. By embracing endurance and unfaltering empathy, kind souls nurture subtle changes in life's fabric, reminders that power doesn't always roar, but whispers through endurance and faith. Their gentle resilience, a legacy of unsung power, shapes and sustains much of the world's unreflected strength. To honour kindness means redefining perceptions, embracing it as revolutionary rather than simplistic sentimentality. Recognising the courage it embodies invites deeper societal appreciation, celebrating compassion as an agent of profound change. Embracement of kindness leads us toward coexistence marked by unparalleled empathy, a world where the gentle are valued for the vast, invisible strength they share. Understanding these softer influences reveals kindness as the vast, enduring force it truly represents, echoing through time a legacy of power and peace. In the quiet corners of our lives, niceness often shines with a glossy allure, like a fragile veneer delicately touched by the light of conformity. Beneath its smooth surface hides a labyrinth crafted by fears and desires seeking acceptance. It is less a gesture of true kindness and more an echo of survival, an instinctual pathway carved out since childhood, guiding us through the bewildering maze of human interactions. Approval, like a distant star, beckons brightly when we wear the mask of niceness, leading us to forget that this seemingly golden road may entrap more than it frees, concealing the path to genuine kindness. These roots, delicate yet pervasive, draw nourishment from the deep soil of fear of rejection, conflict, and the shadowed emotions buried within. As tender minds navigate the gentle reprimands and eager smiles of early years, they learn acceptance is won with the currency of niceness. With time, this costume melds with identity, rarely examined or questioned. A life lived under the mantle of niceness can, unknowingly, become a life half-lived, where true desires whisper in the darkness, unheeded beneath the weight of conforming smiles. This quest to please, while shrouded in the guise of altruism, often leads to the betrayal of one's own soul. When the drive for harmony overrides inner truth, a schism grows between the voice inside and the persona displayed to the world. The discomfort of living such dual lives is quietly filed away as the toll of keeping peace, though rarely is this cost acknowledged for its gravity. Each hushed voice, every longing left unattended, chips away at one's integrity, eroding self-worth and planting seeds of quiet despair. Avoidance of conflict, immediate in its comfort, becomes over time a costly weight. A life engaged in eternal avoidance of discord strails a path that stifles authentic expression, forcing emotions into shadowed corners, muffling the soul's cry for acknowledgement and growth. While sidestepping confrontation promises safety, it insulates growth behind walls of false security. It is here in these stilled waters that the soul contemplates stagnant, longing for the eddies of honest challenge and the lessons they bring. Yet donned perpetually, the mask of niceness becomes burdensome, a false armour that instead of protecting, imprisons. Relationships forged on pretense lack the deep roots of genuine connection, leaving a lingering sense of disconnection and a yearning for something more. Within this masquerade, resentment quietly builds, a hidden storm brewing beneath the surface, as individuals find their authentic voices stifled, their needs sidelined by the relentless march of niceness. To traverse this intimate landscape is to encounter the subtle dance between niceness and true kindness, one rooted in external expectation, the other bloomed from internal truth. Where niceness seeks approval, genuine kindness stands as a testament to wholeness, free from the chains of fear, brimming with empathy and strength. It is the rare flower growing beyond the reach of niceness, nourished by compassion for self and others alike. The path to this authenticity is paved with courage and introspection. Here, assertive communication becomes a compass, guiding with clarity and without compromise. Each spoken truth and honoured boundary draws us closer to a world where interactions are graced with sincerity, where honesty nurtures deep connection. A journey through the shadow of niceness demands self-reflection, a gentle lens through which to view our fears and motivations. It invites an exploration of the landscape shaped by past experiences and lingering in the subconscious. This introspection leads away from habitual niceness, uncovering the essence of who one truly is, fostering an awakening where authenticity and kindness intertwine. Within this unfolding narrative, emotional awareness stands as a sturdy ally, tethering us to the present and offering a lens through which to interpret and respond truthfully. Here lies the wellspring from which resilience flows, empowering one to face life's complexities grounded in truth and understanding. Establishing boundaries becomes not an act of solitude, but one of respect and stewardship over one's narrative. It draws lines that do not divide but protect, celebrating a person's right to flourishing, both in kindness and authenticity. With each boundary honoured, the need for approval diminishes, giving way to a balanced dance of self-care and open-hearted connection. Finally, authenticity unravels the binds of niceness, unfurling like ancient mist to reveal the path toward true freedom. In embracing one's full essence, flaws, dreams and all, the dance of life is enriched, coloured by genuine intention and unshakable truth. Here, in the interplay of inner and outer worlds, emerges a wholeness that sings quietly of fulfillment and contentment, a resonant stillness where authenticity breathes and truly lives. In the tapestry of human existence, a delicate dance unfolds between those moved by the rhythm of authenticity and the formidable currents of the herd, a world that rewards conformity and shields itself with layers of collective fear, often turns its gaze upon the gentle souls, the dreamers and idealists. Like fragrant blossoms in an expanse of uniformity, these individuals disrupt the echo of the mundane simply by embodying their truth. Nietzsche, the whisperer of existential truths, observed this living paradox where those who stray from the collective path, even with noble intent, defy the stringent confines of a unified voice. These tender-hearted beings, in their unguarded sincerity, stand as quiet defiance to the complacency of the many. However, this innate lightness they carry can provoke unease, for it holds a mirror to the unexamined fears of society. The result is often subconscious retaliation, a tempest brewed not from overt malice, but from the discomfort of confronting one's hidden self. Amongst the shadows lurk individuals adept at bending this light to their will. These figures, versed in the art of manipulation, peer into the depths of generosity and twist goodwill into leverage. And thus kindness becomes a double-edged sword, an unguarded virtue that can invite the insidious embrace of those seeking dominance through gentle persuasion. The irony remains, the very traits that promise to heal can become avenues of despair, a narrative as old as time itself. Yet the most sophisticated strands of this weave are not individuals but systems, grand structures masquerading as benevolent entities. These institutions, rooted in the fabric of societies, often lean heavily on the unacknowledged fervour of the compassionate, the volunteers, educators, caregivers. Their essence fuels mechanisms that thrive under the guise of service, perpetuating cycles where contributions are expected but seldom rewarded. It is within these vast machines that the whisper of Nietzsche urges reflection, to rethink the systems that slyly consume the goodness they purport to celebrate. For the pure-hearted, awareness becomes a guiding lantern, ensuring the spirit of service remains a choice, not a chain. In this complex interplay, boundaries emerge as the sanctuaries of the heart. They are not walls, but gentle parameters, essential in reclaiming one's emotional sanctuary. Those led by their hearts must learn the delicate art of self-preservation, guarding against the emotional overdraft that arises from neglecting their well-being. It is a journey towards wholeness where kindness flourishes within a protected space. Boundaries, filled with conviction and compassion, transform narratives of victimhood into empowered stewardship, a safeguarding of the soul's luminous essence from the shadows that threaten to obscure it. In the riverbed of this narrative, purity flows as both a source of strength and vulnerability, often misconstrued by those mired in cynicism. Nietzsche spoke to this paradox, where the collective, facing its reflection, projects imperfections onto those embodying ideals that seem unattainable. This scapegoating acts as a defence, allowing avoidance of moral shortcomings by projecting them onto bearers of light. In cultural tales, those deemed too good often bear society's burdens, as their ethos becomes a target rather than an ideal. Yet in the embrace of purity as a conscious choice, the pure-hearted withstand these projections, aligning with values that transcend mere perception. Within the safeguard of self-reflection lies a profound defence, a nurturing balm against exploitation. It is a critical introspection, an ongoing dialogue of recalibration, where one's motives and relationships are sifted through the sieve of wisdom. Here lies the power of pattern recognition, the clarity of understanding why certain dynamics persist, turning potential manipulation into a fertile ground for growth and preservation. Amidst this delicate dance, empathy shines as a beacon of profound human connection. But unchecked, it can blur lines, leading to an emotional depletion that threatens selfhood. The empathetic must learn to navigate their emotional landscapes, where feeling deeply does not mandate assuming another's burden. This dance between empathy and self-preservation demands balance, an art that, when mastered, nourishes the spirit while maintaining integrity. Finally, softness unfurls as a revolutionary act of resilience, a strategic strength that holds space for vulnerability amidst a world often driven by power and control. It becomes an intentional choice, where tenderness serves as a catalyst for profound connections and change. Nietzsche's wisdom whispers of the transformation in perspective, seeing softness not as a liability, but as a dynamic force of healing and unification. Those who embrace their gentle nature emerge not as passive, but as active agents of communal transformation. Honouring kindness as legacy infuses every act of goodwill into the collective tapestry of human experience. Nietzsche's foresight elevates the essence of this influence, unseen but profound, extending ripples through generations. Here lies the promise that softness, when upheld as a beacon, resonates beyond the immediate, embracing humanity's narratives of empathy and love. In this gentle revolution of tenderness, softness reveals its true existence, not as surrender, but as the ultimate declaration of strength, a living testament to the human spirit's enduring capacity for wisdom, compassion, and transformative power. Empathy, a deep and honourable trait within the human spirit, can sometimes lead hearts with all the sincerity to unintended chains of self-sacrifice. Empathy grants us the grace to feel another's sorrow, to weave their sorrows into our tapestry of understanding. But the weight of this weave can become burdensome. When the line between one's own heart and the pain of others dissolves, we find ourselves wandering into a land where self-care is but a distant memory. Here, in this quiet place of shadows, individuals forget to tend to their own gardens, suffocated by others' weeds of discomfort. This path, often charted by early life whisperings of altruism as a shining virtue, blurs boundaries and transforms noble intentions into a silent opus of self-neglect. The world paints a mythic landscape where suffering is seen as noble, a tale spun into the fabric of countless cultures. This vision celebrates the soul that endures for the sake of others, who is adorned with the crown of martyrdom by enduring storms and remaining steadfast. Yet this romantic tale does not speak of the erosion that occurs within its steady lines, as the sufferer's heart wilts in solitude, unrecognised by a world captured by its illusion of holiness. This cultural story seldom praises the nurturer, who also nurtures oneself, as if goodness bears no relation to the dignity of self-preservation. To unshackle oneself from the repetitive dance of sacrifice requires a brave heart willing to look deeply inward. This journey begins softly, like the dawn light filtering through forest canopies. Patterns of self-sacrifice reveal themselves subtly in the wake of unending giving, rooted in relational and societal obligations. These cycles, if left to coil unchecked, manifest beyond the self, unwilling guests in personal and professional realms. Symptoms silently cry out. Fatigue whispers its presence, and the body murmurs through stress. Yet even amidst these murmurings, the world applauds the unyielding giver, perpetuating a cycle. Gentle transformation shifts from neglect to a state of self-respect, a tender acknowledgement of one's own worth. It is a revelation of seeing oneself beyond the gaze of others, where acts of kindness are extended with mindful intent rather than silent duty. Boundaries emerge not as walls, but as loving gestures towards self. Within this space, the power of no is spoken as kindness to the self, allowing a reclaimed vitality. Here one discovers freedom to redirect energy back into one's existence, fostering growth in nurturing terrain. Thus, compassion joyfully evolves, unfurling gracefully to become informed action rooted in awareness. This evolution prompts a quiet inquiry. Does the heart extend its hand to genuinely serve, or to quell an unseen discomfort within? Mindful compassion transcends martyrs' graves, recognizing a delicate dance between aid and autonomy. This dance is choreographed by wisdom, where connections are nurtured without succumbing to the shadows of dependency. In this awakening, a profound realization arises that selflessness does not equate to self-sacrifice. The heart embraces a knowledge where one's giving is tempered by genuine capacity, skillfully balanced like a carefully tuned instrument. It is this understanding that grants permission to offer and withdraw, recognizing that not all offerings are required nor healthy. The journey further leads one to honor the self while serving others, a harmonious duet where caring for oneself rejuvenates the wellspring from which service flows. This integration reveals itself in routines of mindfulness and deliberate growth, revitalizing the soul's cavernous reserves and reminding us that sustenance of self enriches the ability to care for others without depleting the giver. The embrace of wholeness over sainthood offers a sanctuary of acceptance, where the pursuit of perfection dissolves into harmonious existence. This acceptance whispers that the self is not a martyr's shadow, but a spectrum of lived experiences deserving recognition. Here, personal adversities transform into stories of courage and evolution, challenging cultural myths with a joyful return to authenticity. Recognizing the delicate art of reciprocal relations grounds connections in mutual respect, like an intricate tapestry composed of shared threads. It is a transition from martyrdom's isolation to a synergy where true reciprocity breathes freely. Through open-hearted conversation and transparent interactions, relationships blossom with balance, dethroning narratives that equate suffering with virtue. Finally, the new paradigm rises. The blend of compassionate empowerment, merging empathy with strength to forge a luminous path of deliberate choices. This new dawn is one of self-awareness that liberates and catalyzes change. It extends beyond individual liberation to inspire others towards autonomy and defies the scripts of relentless giving. With empowered compassion, a vibrant tapestry of human connection is woven, celebrating intrinsic dynamism and a collective symphony of enduring transformations. In the serene embrace of night, where whispered truths often find refuge, let us turn our gaze toward the comforting notion of karma, a celestial alignment of justice, clearly seen in the depths of human hearts. For many it's a guiding star, a belief that every good deed, like gentle ripples on a placid lake, eventually returns in kind. In the philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche, however, we find a provocative mirror held up to the universe, questioning this comfort. He reminds us that the cosmos may listen to the deep yearnings of humanity with silent indifference, and thus the belief in karma, while soothing, is but an emotional lullaby in a chaotic existence. Nietzsche's existential musings lead us to realize that the universe may not possess a moral compass, as we so dearly hope. This realization, often a jarring collision of idealism and reality, challenges those who walk lightly and give freely, only to be met with life's unheralded cruelty. They who expect cosmic retribution may find themselves woven into a myth that doesn't protect but instead conceals the inherent unpredictability of existence. By acknowledging this, we can cultivate a resilient acceptance of life's mysterious dance, moving with grace and self-reliance, instead of clinging to the facade of a just world. For those bound by the vision of karma, idealism often becomes both shield and vulnerability. There's a tender belief that goodness naturally begets goodness, a beacon that guides their path. Yet, when the world does not echo back in harmonious accord, despair seeps in like a fog, clouding dreams and bewildering the soul. Nietzsche invites us to embrace a pragmatic love for humanity, not by relinquishing ideals, but by grounding them in the rich soil of self-awareness. Goodness in this light is shaped not by cosmic bargains, but by personal strength, gently illuminating the path even when external shadows loom large. The magic of believing in karma lies not only in its promise, but in its vulnerability, for it exposes hearts to the cold winds of life's indifference. It teaches us that expectations of benevolent reciprocation often lead to inner storms of doubt when unanswered by the universe. Nietzsche beckons us to redefine justice, not as an external assurance, but as an integral part of our journey. By shifting the focus inward, we discover a resilience that blossoms through personal growth, embracing each twist of fate as a lesson, not a betrayal. Shafts of moonlight reveal another truth. The longing for karma's certainty stems from a desire to hold the reins of destiny. Yet, Nietzsche's existential philosophy paints life as a wild, untamed land, where control is an elegant illusion. Here we must relearn how to navigate chaos without the safety net of predictability. In embracing this, we find freedom in the fluidity of existence, where the heart beats steady, aware of the beauty in life's capricious nature. As the realization dawns that karma may not orchestrate reality, a reawakening blooms, revealing disappointments not as fractured dreams, but as stepping stones to self-discovery. Nietzsche gently nudges us to see life's mismatches not as cosmic puzzles, but as invitations to dive deeper within. The canvas of our existence becomes a masterpiece of self-forged resilience and wisdom, where the artist finds fulfillment in authenticity, regardless of external rewards. Through dreams and disillusionment, we are called to rediscover a source of strength hidden beneath life's surface chaos. Travelling beyond old myths, we discover fortitude, grounded not in celestial assurance, but within the core temple of the self. In this sanctuary, Nietzsche's teachings illuminate the path to emotional sovereignty, where vulnerability is met with grace, not dependent on the universe, but tenderly cared for within. The night sky, vast and unfathomable, urges us to release the bonds of cosmic expectations. Nietzsche's wisdom guides us to find solace, not in belief systems, but in the quiet truth that we craft our narrative through the integrity of our actions and relationships. In letting go, we authenticate life's art, where justice scarcely meets out in a cosmic ledger, yet finds fulfillment in a lived experience. As we transcend the age-old myth of karma, the journey of transformation reveals itself like a river of light, inviting us to venture alone into the depths of self-discovery, guided by Nietzsche's existential wisdom. In this exploration, we find humanity's pure potential, not in cosmic balance, but in self-directed existence. The weaving of personal paths aligns strength with raw, unmasked authenticity, inviting us to engage life fully, enriched by all its complexities and surprises. In the end, we emerge not only with knowledge of our unique power, but with a newfound celebration of life's ever-unfolding mystery. Nietzsche's teachings empower us to embrace the entirety of our being, strong and subtle, as we paint our world with the vibrant colours of self-reliance and enduring hope. Thus, a new paradigm is born, where we tread our journey resilient, deeply connected to the whispering ancient mist within us all. In the quiet corners of the heart where whispers of the past linger, the seeds of rage often find their delicate beginnings, born from early moments when tenderness was mistaken for weakness, where the yearning to be heard was silenced by shadows. This quiet rage takes root. In such times, to maintain peace, its fire was pushed deep within, hidden away where few dared to venture. The world, in its misunderstanding, taught those tender souls to fear and conceal their anger, shaping defense mechanisms as a shield against love's withdrawal and punishment's bite. As children, their anger became a silent pact with survival, a nod to earning acceptance in a realm where kindness was compliance, and compliance was a silent scream. Yet as Carl Jung once whispered through the echoes of scholars, what we resist finds ways to persevere. Repressed anger morphs into a mirror of self-doubt and silence. These burdens cloak themselves in guilt, infiltrating the self like a quiet storm, turning turbulent within, its true source disguised, mistaken for unworthiness. Understanding this hidden cycle is essential, an unshackling of silent chains, as one begins a journey of compassionate reflection, an unravelling where light guides the way to healing. This journey, an alchemical tapestry, calls forth the magic of emotional transformation. It beckons us to see truth in emotions, to gently cradle anger not as an enemy, but a wise teacher. Recognizing suppressed emotions opens a door to transmuting pain into strength. Here, both ancient traditions and modern psychology join hands, proclaiming that our emotions, even the dark ones, are fertile grounds for personal growth. By opening to them without judgment, we allow stagnant energy to flow, replacing self-condemnation with self-awareness. The path to wholeness requires illuminating the shadow and integrating it, embracing each element of the soul as an integral piece of one's entirety. A byproduct of this inward journey is often a heavy cloak of guilt, an illusion of self-blame for storms beyond our control. This crafted guilt distorts, urging one to prioritize others' needs over one's truth. Recognizing the difference between this fallacy and true responsibility is key to rediscovering one's power. True responsibility acknowledges our roles without absorbing blame for external wrongs. In this, the illusion of guilt shatters under introspective light, allowing a clearing for a renewed self-image and the liberation from burdens unjustly shouldered. Breaking silence, that heavy silence, is an act of courage. It asks us to confront fear, the fear of judgment, the spectre of rejection. Yet, to remain silent is to nurture suffering's root. Rediscovering one's voice doesn't merely involve speaking, it's a soulful journey of self-honesty and embracing one's truths with all their complexities. It demands the delicate balance of asserting truth with compassion. Engaging in artistic expression, storytelling, and empowered action serves as a balm, a bridge to connect back to one's essence. As the voice liberates, it becomes a beacon of authenticity, weaving connections with others who embody understanding. Where vulnerability is strength and honesty, its guiding star. Amidst these profound transformations, the shadow mirrors one's unconscious projections, casting parts of our hidden selves onto others. These projections hold the key to understanding our reactions and unresolved tensions. The courage to explore these reflections invites healing, offering a return to self-awareness where perceptions are clear and grounded. Such bravery allows us to dismantle defences, fostering relationships rooted in truth rather than projections veneer. Through this landscape of emotion, anger emerges as both a formidable challenge and an extraordinary ally. No longer suppressed, it transforms from a lurking tempest into a guidepost for empowerment. Acknowledging anger's place in our lives, aligning it with awareness, reveals boundaries, needs, and values. When channeled correctly, anger fuels a journey toward informed decisions, not destructive impulses. By engaging with mindfulness, one learns the art of emotional literacy, where each emotion becomes a whisper of wisdom, grounding and guiding through life's complexities. Forgiveness unfolds as a pathway to freedom, disentangling the threads of self-blame and resentment. Inwardly, forgiveness is a sacred liberation, an opportunity to detach from past chains, fostering self-compassion and growth. Understanding that mistakes do not define worth, forgiveness becomes an act of grace, a nurturing of inner peace that heals and fortifies one's presence in the world. Reclaiming one's narrative is a vital act of empowerment, transforming perceived burdens into stories of strength and resilience. Each dawn presents a chance to release past conditioning, embracing the possibilities of the present. This reconstruction shifts identity from what was to what can be, harnessing the agency to create futures rich in purpose. Finally, in designing boundaries, we craft spaces of safety, a necessary act of self-care that transforms reactive patterns into proactive, genuine connections. These sacred frameworks ensure personal well-being, emphasizing self-respect without forsaking empathy. They transform previous impulses, guiding relationships toward authenticity and understanding. In this dance between shadow and light, integration is key. Embracing each aspect of the self with compassion crafts a tapestry of wholeness. Nietzsche, with all his insight, urged us to see this embrace not as surrender to darkness, but as the true awakening of individual power. Through this unity, the soul emerges resilient, a harmonious blend of vulnerability and strength, where gentleness graces strength, and life in its rich complexity is met with conscious, loving presence. In a world often pitting altruism against assertiveness, there lies a gentle power in awakening the inner warrior. An emergence that begins with an acknowledgement of one's life experiences and a realization that strength does not negate kindness but complements it. The gentle souls, having often endured betrayal and exploitation, find themselves tirelessly giving, seeking to mend wounds with deeper goodwill. Yet, this self-sacrificing cycle can persist without an assertive spirit to protect their light. The journey to awaken this inner warrior starts with recognizing that assertiveness is integral to genuine compassion, forming a necessary balance that fortifies rather than detracts from kindness. In the philosophical echoes of Nietzsche, we find that strength need not be a tyrannical force. Instead, it becomes an internal scaffolding upon which lives of deep meaning are built. Jungian introspection also invites us to see that our shadow, the well of untapped potential and resilience, must be drawn into consciousness to create a wholeness. As this realization unfurls, the latent strength within beckons to be cultivated as diligently as our empathy. Embracing one's inner warrior is not a departure from kindness, but a deepening journey into its most profound possibilities. Thus, the art of integrating strength with compassion involves a shift in perception. Assertiveness, often misconceived as aggression, is redefined through the lens of humanistic wisdom as an expression of self-respect, an acknowledgement of one's needs and truths. Herein the kind-hearted do not abandon compassion, but embrace it alongside the empowerment of assertion. To honour one's needs is not to diminish the care extended to others, but to recognise the equal worth of self-love. It is in this sacred dance that the task is to speak one's truth with ease and courage, not as a destroyer of wills, but as a guardian of personal sovereignty. To bridge compassion with assertion, the deeply buried voice, long silenced in a bid to remain good, must be brought forth and heard. Jungian shadow work aids in this quest, revealing hidden facets of the self, often cloaked and overshadowed by the imposed niceties of societal expectations. Embracing these parts allows compassion to shine brighter, luminous in the newfound unity with assertive truth. Kindness becomes an authentic connection and a vessel of healing, all the more potent and sincere. The journey to awaken the inner warrior also demands mastering the art of saying no. This is not the hardened crust of denial, but a loving affirmation of self-respect, a gentle boundary that delineates where empathy meets autonomy. For those ensnared in the web of obligatory kindness, a refusal may appear antithetical to compassion, yet in discernment lies wisdom. Here, the gentle learn to distinguish between enriching engagements and those that exploit their goodwill. To say no becomes an act of self-preservation, an assurance that one must first be whole to pour into others meaningfully. Conflict, often avoided by the kind-hearted, is a crucible for growth, a portal to deeper self-understanding and relational authenticity. Here, conflict is reframed as not an aggressive challenge, but an opportunity for evolution and learning. By engaging with conflict, individuals unearth hidden emotions, anger, frustration, that when examined with compassion serve as guides to a fuller becoming. Conflict, when approached from a stance of curiosity, fortifies the inner landscape, turning adversities into rites of passage for deeper awareness and resilience. Central to awakening this warrior within is the embrace of vulnerability. Contrary to perceptions of weakness, vulnerability, a profound act of courage, forms the very bedrock of authentic strength. Practicing vulnerability is not about racing against life's risks, but about dancing with them, fearlessly embracing each as an opportunity for growth. This approach builds resilience, not through impermeability, but through the audacity to be seen wholly, embracing the tangled beauty of the human experience. Ultimately, in weaving strength and compassion into everyday life, the quest is to embody these qualities rather than sputter them as momentary acts. It calls for a commitment to rituals that nurture this delicate balance, a quiet reflection, a mindful pause, transforming moments into a lived expression of gentle fortitude. Here the inner warrior emerges, neither alarmed by challenges nor swayed by the fragility of life's dance, but poised in grace and intentionality. By treading this path, they become both gentle and unbreakable, a beacon of empowered existence and an invitation for others to embark on their own transformative journeys. In the tranquil corners of our inner sanctuaries, where our truest selves reside, boundaries emerge as gentle guardians, sacred markers that protect the soft expanse of our being. Often misconstrued as barriers to connectivity, these boundaries are, in truth, the gentle membranes through which the essence of our spirit exchanges with the world. They breathe, they flex, allowing life-giving energy in while deftly sheltering the heart from toxicity. Imagine, if you will, the skin as a metaphor for these sacred limits, defining what lies within from what remains without, drawing the attentive line where our emotional and psychological landscape begins. Establishing such boundaries whispers of self-awareness, an intrinsic chant of respect not born of self-interest but of self-preservation. In the grand weave of being, these sacred boundaries are threads of resilience and colour, ensuring each patch of our life's fabric retains its integrity. Without them, we risk becoming like candles burnt at both ends, our light dimmed by the ceaseless expectations and intrusions of others. Boundaries speak not of solitude, but invite us into a dance of understanding and mutual engagement, where honouring our worth paves the way for authentic connections. They are a gentle invitation to others, beckoning them to meet us not in the shadows of manipulation, but in the soft glow of mutual respect and profound understanding. In the sacred quietude of setting boundaries, we embark on a spiritual journey, one that prioritizes the wholeness of the self. It is less about constructing walls around the heart than about crafting sanctuaries for the soul's peace. This practice honors the divine spark within, nurturing a garden where the flowers of love and truth can bloom fervently. In the sacred boundaries we create, we find the strength to offer a deep, resounding yes, while holding the grace to express a serene no without apology. These boundaries become lanterns guiding us toward a higher consciousness, crafting a world not of dominance and control, but of gentle, enlightened coexistence. As unique as a fingerprint, the anatomy of a boundary echoes the contours of personal history, experiences, and deeply held values. Each layer, be it physical, emotional, or psychological, protects a facet of our being. Physical boundaries define personal space, while emotional boundaries shield our tender feelings from being overwhelmed. Meanwhile, psychological boundaries protect our thoughts and identities from being reshaped at the whims of others. Understanding and appreciating these layers allow us to articulate our limits with clarity, establishing a panorama of expectations that honours both self and others. Boundaries, ever evolving, call for a dialogue with oneself, a pattern of introspective reflection that ensures they remain resilient pillars, safeguarding our truest selves. In the realm of interconnection and humanity, boundaries and control often find themselves mistakenly intertwined. Control over others remains an illusion, elusive and unsustainable. Yet boundaries offer a sanctuary of internal control, guiding our responses, preserving our emotional equilibrium, and shaping the landscape of our engagements. Where control demands manipulation of the external, boundaries dwell peacefully within, fostering inner resilience that stands firm even amid external chaos. This clarity shifts us from grasping for control to embracing self-sovereignty, nourishing a serenity that does not depend on external conformity. Empaths, with their delicate sensitivity and immense capacity to connect, tread a unique path in the practice of boundary setting. Their journey involves learning to weave a delicate yet durable framework that guards their emotional reserves. For the empath, boundaries allow the discernment of fruitful emotional engagements over draining entanglements. By distinguishing between empathy and enmeshment, empaths can cultivate rich relational dynamics wherein engagements arise from conscious choice and sustain their inner light. Boundaries cast wisely create sanctuaries for personal growth and genuine self-expression. Not by shutting others out, but by inviting them into spaces of mutual respect. Here, authenticity thrives, nurtured by an environment free from judgment or manipulation. This safe haven requires clarity and compassionate communication of boundaries, expressed without the weight of aggression or blame, fostering two-way understanding that honours everyone involved. Such environments transform interactions into opportunities for mutual growth, where respect forms the foundation of every connection. Gracefully navigating the inevitable boundary violations becomes a dance of growth rather than conflict. It begins with acute self-awareness, recognizing the subtle signs of a boundary trespass before the trespass festers into resentment. Communicating boundaries in such crucibles requires an empathetic yet assertive voice, a blend of strength and understanding. Through mindfulness and gracious forgiveness, these moments of boundary intersection transform into poignant lessons, nurturing a cycle of respect and a sturdiness in relationships. Each violation, when approached with compassion, fortifies the understanding of boundaries as powerful tools for connection, not division. In the essence of inner peace, boundaries prove themselves as steadfast tools, anchors in the tumult of external demands, grounding us firmly in our truths. By expressing them, we permit ourselves to exist without guilt, savouring the nourishment of self-prioritization. This is not selfishness, but rather an echo of self-preservation, a soul-deep vow to cherish one's own well-being. Boundaries forge a path of deliberate engagement, nurturing connections that are vibrant and mutually enriching, anchoring a serenity that thrives in tandem with the world's dance. Indeed, communicating boundaries effectively is an intricate art, a harmonious blend of honesty, tender clarity, and boundless empathy. Beginning with introspective self-reflection, it journeys through transparent communication that evokes mutual respect. It involves creating an empathetic listening space, allowing others the room to understand and reciprocate. As the commitment to this dance deepens, boundaries evolve into modalities of connection, fostering landscapes ripe with trust. By weaving them into the fabric of daily life, boundaries embrace the ongoing rhythm of wellness, rooting themselves deeply in the nourishing soil of self-care, vital for enduring resilience and personal evolution. In the tender embrace of dusk, where the world hushes into an ancient quiet, there dawns a rebirth of goodness that transcends naive simplicity. To embody this fierce goodness, one must weave strength into their kindness, understanding that true benevolence is not depleted by the complexities of existence, but invigorated by them. Nietzsche's voice whispers through time, suggesting that genuine goodness is not the absence of strength, but its most profound expression. It is an evolution, a metamorphosis where naivety sheds its skin and a new understanding flourishes, a recognition that gentle hearts are emboldened by wisdom and insight. Here in this realm of profound realization, we are invited to reassess the very essence of being good. This path challenges the notion that our compassion must come at a personal cost, nurturing instead the ability to act with unwavering integrity. Kindness, fused with understanding, becomes not a fragile light but a robust flame. This strength, rooted deep in one's spirit, fortifies the goodwill that gleams fiercely through adversity, empowering without exposing to vulnerability. Suffering, a relentless teacher, offers a peculiar alchemy, transmuting pain into indomitable strength. When good souls are hurt, they find themselves at a crossroads, a choice to linger in shadows or to transform this hurt into resilience. Nietzsche's wisdom echoes here, suggesting that what survives hardship becomes stronger. Through the embrace of suffering, individuals embark on an introspective journey, bringing suppressed feelings into the light, allowing for healing and reintegration. Each step reveals that true resilience mingles compassion and strength, crafting a goodness that is both fierce and unyieldingly tender. In the dance of life's dualities, strength and kindness spin together, entwined like ancient lovers. This is the heart of fierce goodness, a harmony where assertiveness waltzes with compassion. Mastery lies in navigating these dualities with grace, believing as Nietzsche did, that the truly powerful wield both the sword and the olive branch. Here strength does not negate kindness but elevates it, forming a protective circle that ensures the preservation and flourishing of compassion in a world that often misconstrues vulnerability. Step into the narrative of self-authorship, where one's life story is penned not by circumstance, but by the willful stroke of personal agency. Nietzsche's existential musings inspire a reclamation of identity, urging us to be authors of our own journeys, not passive characters in the plots imposed by society. This narrative is crafted through introspection, shedding beliefs that no longer serve, and embracing those that resonate with our authentic selves. Within self-authorship lies the seed of fierce goodness, planted deep in the fertile soil of autonomy and inner truth. Boundaries, like sacred guardians, shield the light within, providing the soul with a sanctuary. For those gentle of heart, setting boundaries is a necessary rite. Contrary to wall building, It carves gateways for genuine connection. Nietzsche's philosophies gently remind us that boundaries are declarations of self-respect, a vital component of sovereignty. With courage, we learn to say no, to prioritize our well-being, understanding that fierce goodness remains untouched by manipulation when protected by sacred boundaries. Vulnerability, often cloaked as weakness, reveals its true form as a woven tapestry of strength. To be vulnerable is to embrace oneself openly, to engage with the world without pretense, revealing the depth of our humanity. In this openness we find strength, a truth embraced by Nietzsche as a doorway to genuine connection and transformation. Through vulnerability, empathy blossoms, deepening our engagement with others, affirming that true power lies not in invulnerability, but in embracing the wholeness of who we are. Acceptance, a gentle force, transforms the fabric of reality into a canvas of possibility. It invites us to see and acknowledge life as it unfolds, not through the lens of desire, but through the clarity of presence. Acceptance is not a quiet resignation, but a powerful surrender to what is, allowing freedom from futile resistance. Nietzsche's existential reflections guide us toward this empowering acceptance, encouraging a mindset where fierce goodness thrives through adaptability and resilience, turning challenges into opportunities for growth. Forgiveness, an intricate thread in the tapestry of fierce goodness, liberates the heart from the chains of bitterness. Nietzsche urges the transcendence of grudges, advocating for forgiveness not as obligation, but as an act of personal liberation. In releasing the weight of past hurts, we reclaim our narrative from anger's grasp, stepping into a space of peace and empathy. Forgiveness within this context is a courageous act, a choice to rise beyond grievance, embracing goodness that is resilient yet profoundly compassionate. In embracing our shadows, we uncover the complete self, a journey into wholeness championed by Jungian thought and Nietzsche's existential forestry. To integrate the shadow is to bring hidden aspects into the light of understanding, recognizing them as threads that enrich our soul's tapestry. Through this embrace, we cultivate authenticity, allowing fierce goodness to emerge, composed of both light and darkness, and untouched by societal judgment. Ultimately, the legacy of fierce goodness stretches beyond the self, casting ripples into the world. Here lies the testament to transformative presence, where living fearlessly as one's higher self seeds change across the collective consciousness. Nietzsche's foresight envisioned this potential, seeking a societal evolution inspired by authentic embodiment. Through small everyday acts, infused with integrity and kindness, individuals become beacons, inspiring others towards similar transformations. Inviting you to continue this journey, I hope you found inspiration in these words. If you seek more, do like, subscribe, and join our evolving exploration of the human spirit.